Well, hello, United students. I'm Tom Matson.
And I am Blake Finley.
And we are running for student body president and vice president. We'd like to thank Blake Ruane so far for his fantastic job with the UNI blog, the UNI elections blog, excuse me. But we would like to address some of the concerns he laid out when he talked about our platform analysis.
One of the first concerns that Blake brought up was students may not want to post on Rate My Landlord or Rate My Employer. We understand this concern, but feel that it is NISG's job to offer student services to students. If students don't take advantage of that, there's nothing NISG can do about it. We don't want to not offer something because we're not sure if it would work. We want to try this out, and if it doesn't work, so be it. But I personally feel that many students would take advantage of this because the idea came from students on our campaign team, and I thought it was a great idea because I had my rent lost by my landlord last semester, which was really difficult to deal with while being involved in student orgs and classes and all of that. And I think other students who may be in similar situations would want to share their experience so the other students wouldn't go to that landlord and have that happen again.
Another big thing that Blake brought up that was a concern for him was our vlogs and blogs and making sure that all the executive positions and Blake and I would do a vlog each week. And he said that he wasn't sure whether we'd have the time commitment to be able to do those. Right now we're doing a vlog, and at tops of vlogs, they're not going to be long. They just be short, brief, kind of giving the students a brief as to what was going on with that director during the week. And as for Blake and I, what was going on with us during the week, with what committees we went to, who we talked to, stuff like that. So they're not going to be these long things, very short, take a very small amount of time, but we do feel like it's important. I feel like it's a way for students to easily come and access and find out what directors and their representatives at NISG are doing in a very easy way, which is a video where they just play it and they can listen to it. They don't have to spend the time reading or anything like that. For those students that would like to read, we also talked about blogs. And the blogs might take a little bit longer than vlogs, but we feel like the blogs would just be transcripts of the vlogs. So it's not like they're writing page after page of what they did that week of extremely detailed stuff, but it's just a basic kind of overview of what went on that week and how it impacts students. So once again, it's just something that shouldn't take that long. This isn't going to take us that long, but once again we found that it's very important for students, so that way they can be updated as to what's going on with NISG. Another big topic that he brought up that he concerned with was the roundtables and whether we could find students to actually participate in these roundtables. We're not asking for students to come once a week to come talk to us. We're talking about once a semester with different student organizations. So for instance, one month we might talk to Greek Life, the next month we might talk to organizations who are dealing with green projects and making UNI more environmentally friendly. In the next week we might be talking to diversity, leaders of those groups. So it's not like you're going to be meeting every single week with the president myself, or with the vice president myself. And if a leader can't make it, these organizations generally have multiple members in them. So any member can show up whoever they want to send to us. It doesn't have to be like an elected leader, but as long as they send somebody to us that will sit down and address that club's concerns, we feel like it's valuable for us to start that communication, be able to sit down and talk to them and ask them what can we do for them. So when it comes to the logistics of it, it's a very small time commitment for these clubs and organizations that come meet with us once a semester for an hour, maybe an hour and a half, depending on if there's a lot of concerns or needs or anything that needs to be brought to us. So we feel that although the initial kind of getting everything together might take some time, we feel like executing it and getting people to show up shouldn't be that difficult because it really is a small time commitment we are asking for students.
Alright, one of the other concerns that Blake Ruane brought up was whether students would attend the public forums. We understand that, I think we actually put it in our platform, that at first it's probably going to be difficult to get students there, but with effective advertising, which we'd be sure that happens, we feel that some students would show up. And even if only one student shows up at the forum, NSG is doing its job of talking to students and hearing what they have to say. Granted, when it first gets started, it may be just 1, 2, hopefully a little more than that, 10 maybe, students that show up, but if this becomes an annual thing, students may start looking forward to it, and eventually there may be several, 50, 60 students that come and share their concerns with NISG. Again, it is something that may not work, but we want to try it and do our best to have NISG get out to the students as much as possible.
Another topic that you brought up was presentations at student orgs. We realize that there are tons of student orgs on campus who are very actively involved and all very important. So what we're going to do is send out an email saying we have NISG representatives that would love to come to your organization and give you a brief summary and a brief PowerPoint presentation as to what NISG does and how it can benefit your student organization. Currently, there are lots of members on the NISG when it comes to senators, executive positions, and then the president and the vice president. We're not expecting just Blake and I to go out to these organizations, the two of us, and try to hit every single one. But instead, we're going to make sure that senators, members of the executive branch are also involved in giving these presentations to student organizations. So we're going to try our best to hit as many as we possibly can, but we feel that it is extremely important to hit as many as we can, because going out to students is extremely important to us, and it's extremely important to making a new NISG that is going out to students instead of waiting for students to come to us.
Alright, another concern that Blake brought up was some concerns with our sustainability piece of our platform. One of them was like how much funding would we put aside for sustainability, and well, that's something that we can't answer right now. We're not in the position. I don't know how much money NISG will have at the time. It's also something we'd have to work closely with the Organization Finance Committee and Senate to determine that. And this isn't something that Tom or I can just say, hey, this is what's going to happen. We're going to have to work with Senate to do that. And that's one thing that we have to push for, but until we get in that and kind of see like how the year's going, I don't feel comfortable giving any numbers out there, or putting any numbers out there, and that's why it wasn't in the platform. It is a very good question, so I really do appreciate that. Again, it's one that I don't think we can answer right now until we're in that position, and it's one that Tom and I probably won't end up making the decision ourselves. Another concern was having recycling available in all the academic buildings, like in all the classrooms, and then also the automatic light switches in all the academic buildings and residence halls. We understand this is probably not going to happen right away. It's going to be a slow process, just like implementing them here and there, like as time goes on. But this is something really important that a lot of students really have talked about, and it's something that would be really beneficial to our university. So just because it would be difficult to do, I don't think that we shouldn't do it. We should work really hard to see that it happens, and each little step we make towards getting all of those put in is one step for our university. Like, it's a step to improve it. And it may take a while to get all of it done, but it's something that we would like to see start happening. And if we don't start big ideas that may take a while, they're never going to get done. Also, as to the point of move in and move out days, yeah, those days are very chaotic, but we feel that having a recycling bin just right outside some of the dorms wouldn't add that much stress to it. No one from the DOR or you and I would have to deal with it. We've talked to some people involved with Cedar Falls, and they said that they could bring a recycling bin and put it outside of the dorms, and then they would come and take care of that themselves, like after. So literally there'd be no work for any DOR staff, and as long as it was put into place that didn't take away like a lot of extra parking, we feel that this would be a very feasible idea to do. Another
big concern that I see Blake have with a lot of the different platforms is the LGBT Center. Obviously all the candidates are really passionate about it, wanting to see it implemented, but he wanted more specifics as to how we were going to get that implemented. One big thing that I think separates us from the other platforms is our involvement with Veterans Affairs. Veterans Affairs is one of the very few organizations that has actually accomplished their goal of getting a center in place. We spent a lot of time talking to them, asking them, how they accomplished that goal, what loops they had to go through, and all that kind of stuff. And we realized that it's an extremely complex process that took them multiple years. It takes a certain group of people that they're gonna be told no several times, and they're gonna have to keep pushing and pushing and pushing. So what our goal is to do is to take Veterans Affairs and take the leaders that got the center started, and take them and meet them with the LGBT students and the leaders of the LGBT community pushing for a center. We feel that although the LGBT community has different loops and hoops that they're going to have to jump through when it comes to getting their center, we feel that it's extremely beneficial for them to talk to somebody that's already done it, who's already had to go through the process, who has had to go through at least some of the hoops that the LGBT Center is going to have to go through. But when it comes down to us being able to do tangible things, we feel that this is going to have to be a student-led movement, just like it was for Veterans Affairs. So although we would like to help and we're going to support as much as we can with the LGBT Center, we do realize that this is going to be a very student-led movement, but we want to give that student-led movement as many resources as we possibly can, and we think the biggest resources we can give them is the Veterans Affairs, who has that experience of getting a center in place.
Another concern that Blake brought up with our platform was in regards to the disability services, and what exactly like a universal disability checklist would look like. Well, we've actually have one kind of developed. We met with Ashley Brinkley, who is the Disability Services Coordinator here on campus. It would essentially just be like questions to consider when planning an event. For example, will a video be shown? Ashley recommended having videos have all like closed captions as you play them, or if you hand out materials during the show, having them available in e-text or large print or also braille. Those are just a few things. We have a whole checklist developed. We can put that up on our website if you guys would like to look at it. But again, we've met with her, and this is something that we feel really strongly about, and we really want to make our events and pretty much all of campus really accessible to UNI students. Another thing that Blake addressed was the feasibility of moving some events from the bottom of the Union to places that are wheelchair accessible. And I understand it's going to be really difficult because the bottom of the Union has tons of meeting rooms that are utilized on campus. We understand that it may be difficult, but it's also really important that students who are in wheelchairs and may not be able to get to the bottom of the Union can participate in all the events that other students can. Like, that's not fair to them. So regardless of what it takes, we really feel like it needs to be looked into and solutions found for making all of these things available to those students.
So power went out in my house the other night, so we couldn't finish the vlog, so we're going to finish it today.
And you've got to adopt a garden.
And I got to adopt a garden. A big platform a big part of our platform that I know a lot of students have concern on is the Adopt a Garden program, and whether students actually want to get involved with it. For us, it would be a great opportunity for students, especially like Greek Life and other organizations who want to be known on campus, want to have more presence on campus, for them to be able to, specifically tailor parts of the union, at least the roof of the union, to benefit their needs and to benefit their wants. We don't think this university is ugly. We feel like this university is already very beautiful, but you can always make the university more visually appealing, especially for like incoming students and current students. You can always make it more beautiful. So we feel like that's a program that's worth trying, and if it works, awesome. Students love it, awesome. And if it doesn't work, then we'll move on to something that's more important that students care about more.
Not really concerns, because most people like the idea, but just like questions about how we will accomplish it when a previous administration didn't. And that is the idea of Panther Points. Well, I was actually on the Panther Points committee that Ian Goldsmith started, and we actually only met one time. That's no fault of Ian's. The next couple meetings were canceled due to weather, and then after that was when the program closures were announced. So most of the university was caught up in that and trying to put out fires. Our idea is to just start a committee with the relevant people on campus and continually meet every week. We would also like the lower cabinet director of outreach to work really close with this, just so that there's another NSG person working really closely to ensure that there is follow through and that the ideas that come from those meetings are being implemented. Obviously, Tom and myself would work very closely with that person as well, but we feel like that falls under the Director of Outreach's job description, and it could be something for them to work on. Another point that was brought up was the idea of ensuring that the foundation does its best to fund as many merit-based scholarships as possible. I'm really passionate about this because I have a merit-based scholarship, and that scholarship has changed my life. I could not have come to UNI without that scholarship. Like, I would not be here. And I don't really care what it takes. Like, if I have to call donors myself and share my personal story about how my scholarship has changed my life, I will do that. If I have to meet like weekly with the president of the foundation to be sure that this happens, I will do so. Yes, we understand that that we cannot tell the foundation what to do, but we will do everything we can to be sure that they know that this is really important to students, and that will put this as the top of their priorities. If it's important to students, then it will be important to the foundation.
Veterans Affairs is one thing that once again was brought up, and that a lot of people have been very critical of all the campaigns as not having anything specific about Veterans Affairs and how we can benefit them. With Veterans Affairs, the veterans had just gotten done getting the Veterans Center. They just passed bills through NSG and through Faculty Senate about the bill, so that way students could have absences or excused absences if they had military duties or military appointments put through the VA. So right now they've accomplished a lot of the goals that they have set out to accomplish. So we want to continue to support Veterans Affairs, but we need to wait to see what Veterans Affairs wants to do next. Once they have their next move and once they figure out what they want to do next, we're there to support them. But as of now, as far as Blake and I know, they are just now trying to complete their goals and make sure that everything runs smoothly before they move on to any new goals. And once those goals, we're going to help them make sure that's all moved over, make sure all the details of the Veterans Affairs are completed, and make sure that no grievances happen again like they happened previously this last year. Once those are all smoothed over, then we can move on to new policies and new ideas for veteran students. But as of now, they want to smooth over and make sure everything gets completed. And the last thing, with Greek Life, there has been several questions, as we talked about earlier, about the rollover funding. If our budget has leftover money, giving out to student organizations that have done extremely well or have done a lot for the student body here on campus, and giving those rollover funds as almost a reward to encourage other organizations to do positive things for the student body. Something we really want to make sure that everyone knows that this is not just for Greek Life, this is not just for sororities and fraternities, this is for all student organizations. I know that was something that was brought up. So I want to make sure that everyone knows that all student organizations, including Greek Life, would be eligible for these rollover funding rewards.
All right, and just kind of in general, we've received just quite a few questions from not only the blogger, but just student organizations in general, wondering if our ideas are realistic. And we understand that actually to implement a lot of our ideas, it's going to take a lot of work, but we're willing to put forth the effort to see that happen. And we really just don't want to say, oh, we're not going to do something because it would be difficult to do, or it may not happen. We don't know if those things will happen until we try. So if they're going to benefit the student body, we're going to try them out and see what happens.
Thanks again for watching, and thanks again for being informed, reading the blog, reading all the different candidates and all their platforms and all they have to say about the current NSG elections. We appreciate all your guys' support, whether you're supporting us or supporting other candidates. It means a lot to us to see students being informed and being active on this campus. Remember that voting is on February 26th and 27th, and there will be a link to that on our website, also with the how to go to the website and vote. That's all going to be included on our website on voting day.
All right, thank you.
And as always, Tom Blake, serving you and I.